Welcome, friends, to the Play Guitar Podcast. I'm Lee, and I'm here to help you become the guitar player that you always wanted to be. I've been upgrading and customizing Strats for as long as I've had them. And you can make them do anything if you have enough time and you know enough about what you're doing. I've been getting these Strats. I've got, 4 of them at this point, getting them in shape for my next musical adventure, which I'm going to be sharing with you as it goes. But this one in particular right here, the one I'm holding is my red Strat. You may have seen that in a few videos. It's getting a lot of attention lately. And I've done a lot to it to make it effortless and just fun to play. So I've had a lot of comments asking about the Strat. I'm going to talk about my guitar. I talk about everybody else, helping them all the time. It's time to talk about me. But I thought, how can I talk about this guitar in a way that helps you? If you are a Strat player or thinking about getting a Strat, if you have a cheap Strat copy or a really expensive Stratocaster and they're not quite right for you, these are some of the things that I would recommend for you to do because I've done them here on this guitar and they worked. And I've tried a lot of stuff. I've bought a lot of things that didn't work. A lot of pickups that didn't work. I have a whole box full of pickups that I really need to have them move on to new owner. But no, they sit there in the box. Maybe, because, maybe I'll use them one day. But anyway, let's talk about this. Here's a little bit about this guitar. This is a 2001 American double fat Strat. It is an ash body, and the ash body really takes to this sienna sunburst finish. It's really nice. When it first came, it had a white tortoiseshell pickguard and 2 white humbuckers on it, and it was okay. But I changed the pickguard, and of course I changed all the knobs and everything like that to black, and then it just became the guitar it was supposed to be at that point. It came originally with a Duncan 59 in the neck and a Duncan Pearly Gates Plus in the bridge. Now, very interestingly, the pickup that I'm going to talk to you about today is not the Pearly Gates Plus. It's the Pearly Gates. The Pearly Gates Plus, when I got it was a little too harsh for this guitar. It was a lot too harsh for this guitar. And the 59 in the neck was okay. It was pretty good. Not exactly what I wanted, but it was pretty good. So the 2 humbuckers that came with the guitar didn't really work for me. That started everything off. But the pickup switching, the 5-way switch between those 2 humbuckers that Fender used, which was really cool. And you got a great Strat sounds from it, and you got great humbucker sounds from it. It's very different. It had to do with flipping the polarity of one of the magnets in there so that they could pull off what they were trying to pull off with this. It's very cool. The bridge that was on it was an American Series chrome tremolo bridge, the ones you see on the Jeff Beck Strats. He could make them stay in tune. I could not. So forever, I was struggling with that. It has a micro tilt in the back. What that is in the back here, there's a little place where you can put an Allen wrench in there, and it's the same as a shim, but it's adjustable, so I can adjust how far the neck tilts from the body. If you ever played a Strat and then you put your hand down by the bridge here, and what ends up happening is the pole piece is kind of cut into your hands. So adjusting, they've run out of play. They can't get low enough for the guitar to play right, but all of those are sticking out. So what ended up happening was you could shim the underneath inside the neck pocket, put a little bit of cardboard in there. Some people put picks in there, but something to make the neck tilt a little bit differently. And then you could get the most usable range out of those, of the saddle height screws there. It was a great playing guitar when I got it. I had tuning and pickup problems. I decked the tremolo. What does that mean? When you deck the tremolo, that means putting the tremolo all the way back so it touches the wood, right? I did that by tightening the trim springs, the strings in the back, until this base plate touched. But I had to put some extra tension on it because if you just stop right when it touches, when you bend strings, it will still have enough force to pull the tremolo forward. So your open strings, if you ever want to do a bend, and then play another string that's open, it would pull that string out of tune. So you had to put a little extra tension on the springs. And then I started this decades-long pickup experiment. I eventually landed on Lindy Fralin Hot Vintage for the neck in the middle position, and then a SP43, which was Lindy Fralin's single coil, but it sounds like a single coil small size, but it has the tone of a P90 for the bridge. And I played like that for about 10 years or so. But now I need this trem to work for what I'm going to do, and I need a humbucker in the bridge. So today I'm sharing with you the top 5 upgrades that I've done to my Strat to get it to where I need it right now. And it is working to make it work and to make it sound perfect for me. And if these work for me, I'm sure they will work for you too. So the first thing that I needed to do was to find a bridge that worked, that stayed in tune. I have a friend, Chris, and Chris has been on the podcast a few times. And he always tells me, I have a vintage Strat that has a Wilkinson Bridge on it that actually stays in tune. And I thought, oh yeah, sure. Because everyone I've ever played did not. So I also noticed that the Andy Timmons model's guitar use Wilkinson Bridge tremolos as well too, and his stay in tune as well as Chris's. So what I did was I just decided I'm done with these Fender tremolos. I just can't take it anymore. And I ordered, the first one I ordered is the one that's on my black Strat. There's a picture of it right here. And this is the same one that's on the Andy Timmons. It's the VSVG, and it stays in tune. Now, if I dive bomb and, do all those things, it can get a little out of the way, but it will make it through a song. It will make it through 2 songs. It will make it through 3 songs before I have to retune it. So what's pretty neat about the VSVG is the saddles themselves are that kind of stamped steel. They're very similar sounding to an old Strat tremolo. It has a little bit of a plink to it, which reminds me of an old vintage style Strat. But there's a lot of things inside it that are different. The ways that the holes are spaced, everything about it is geared for it to stay in tune, even though it's not a locking system there. So I tried that and it worked. And I thought, oh my goodness gracious, I want to do this on all my guitars. But that certain bridge is a 6 screw screw-in bridge, a traditional vintage Fender type. This double fat Strat that I have, if you can see right there, it only has the 2 poles for the tremolo to sit on. I went in and looked at all of the different Wilkinsons they have, and I ended up picking the Wilkinson Go-To VS 1300 Vibrato 2-point intonation string locking bridge tremolo of goodness that you'll see right here. And it's fantastic. These saddles here lock on intonation, and they lock on height, and they also lock on the string itself. There's little places for an Allen wrench where you can lock the string in place right at the front of the saddle. So what goes on behind it doesn't affect the tuning very much at all. Stays in tune pretty nicely. So if you'd like the links to these, you can go to the show notes page. I will have all of them down there, plus Amazon links to each one. They're affiliate links. If you do eventually buy through those, I would get a small percentage of that as a help for the channel. But if you don't, that's cool too. I want you to make sure that your Strats sound fantastic like mine is starting to do. Finally, Seymour Duncan Pearly Gates pickup. So this right here is not the Pearly Gates Plus, which this guitar came with. This is a Duncan Pearly Gates, SHPG1B. And I would recommend this to anyone playing a Strat who wants a humbucker. I have tried a ton. I have tried the 36 anniversaries. I have tried tons of different Seymour Duncan pickups. The one that I landed on with this one at one point that was close was a JB. And that pickup usually works in just about anything, but it just didn't have a little bit of a cut through it, a little bit of a high-end cut. So I finally tried. I've had the Pearly Gates in my Les Paul for a long time. I tried it in a Strat and it works perfectly. You still get the thick sound of a humbucker with a little bit of Strat snarl in there too. What do I need in a Strat sound? I need my neck pickup. I need the middle and my neck pickup together. These kind of, I don't know if people call them out of phase. It's the quacky sounds that you get on the 2 and the 4 positions there. Speaking of that, I need the 4 position where you have the one of the coils from the humbucker and then the middle together. That's like the country one. The only other one's like the Stevie Ray Vaughan Little Wing style. This one here is more of a country twang type sound. And then I need the full humbucker there. And more than that, what I need is my tone pickup on the bridge, my lowest tone knob to only work on the bridge. But then when I go to the 4 position, some would call it the 2 position, depends on who you're talking to, where it cuts off where it uses half of the humbucker and then the middle pickup to get that kind of country twang sound, but it's also a Mark Knopfler type sound too. I don't want the tone knob to affect that. I'd like for it to stay just on the humbucker, but not when I move it to where it's shared. So normally that would happen. So I was like, what do I do about that? How could I get an HSS wiring for this guitar and still keep that tone knob exclusively just for the back pickup? And so here's the one that I have. I actually have one coming today. It's the Tone Shaper guitar wiring kit for Fender HSS guitars. It's an auto split wiring. Splits that when you go from the bridge to the one up. From there, splits it in half and make sure that your tone knob only works for the back and not for the 4. So you can go from maybe a roll down tone on your bridge pickup and then go up one. And then you have this nice crystal clear Strat sound there. It's very cool. It comes with the super switch, which allows you to do this cool switching. It comes with the orange drop caps and it comes with the treble bleed kit. And it changes the volume pot depending on whether using the full humbucker or everything else. It has a resistor that kicks in, so knocks it down from 500K to 250K when you're up in the front positions, the Strat positions there. So makes it sound better for the humbucker and better for the single coil sounds all in one. Best idea, best way to make sure that your guitar is sounding as good as it possibly can if you're doing an HSS split. So my number 4 pick for helping your Strat become the best it could be is locking tuners. And the locking tuners that I've used, I have on all of my Strats, are Spurzl locking tuners, and they're fantastic. What I like about them, 1, they're locking tuners. 2, the ratio of tuning lets you really fine tune your string tuning. It's very, very precise there. But these are becoming harder and harder to find. So if I was buying new today, I would try the Hipshock Grip Lock 6-in-line tuners. A lot of people compare them to the Spurzls. They're a little bit different, but a lot of people like them better. The Hipshock tuners have a mounting plate that will make it easier to install them. And that's what I don't think I could do this without the locking tuners. The minute that I use the bar, they would go out of tune. That being said, on the next quest of mine to make sure that this thing stays in tune is the nut. And I've tried all sorts of different nuts, bone nuts. I've tried all the different graphite, lubricants, all of those things. And the one that works the best is the most common one. And that's the Tusk XL. And you can get them pre-slotted. So for making a nut, I don't know if you've ever tried to do that. It's a time consuming job. And you can ruin it very quickly. With a pre-slotted, I really didn't have to do much filing in the slot. It pretty much fit this. I used 9.5 gauge strings that fit those pretty nicely. All I did really was on the sides, the edges of the sides, I filed those down a little bit so they were even with the guitar. This was a great deal, and it was almost the final piece. And that brings me to my bonus recommendation, and that is the Big Ben's nut sauce. Once I used this guitar was finally usable. And I finally, decades long, tried to find a Strat that I could use the tremolo. It would stay in tune. And it is very close to being perfect every once in a while. So what I'll do is I'll take a little bit of this. This is the one I got. It's called the Little Luber. And I just put it underneath the string tree here. I put it in each of the slots. And then underneath especially on this guitar where the strings lock down on the bridge right here, where I get those lockdowns, I put a little bit underneath that as well. And all of a sudden now I finally had something that was very similar to a Floyd Rose, but didn't sound like a Floyd Rose. It sounded like something that you would find on a Strat there. So that was my bonus. You got six for the price of 5 today. Pretty cool stuff. I hope that some of this, if you're, like I said, if you have a really expensive Strat that's not doing it for you, if you have a cheaper Strat and you want to add on to it to make it playable, to make it a little bit better without having to buy a whole guitar, these are the things that I do. I do this for fun. A lot of people, they go fishing, they go hunting, they have boats. I don't have any of those things because what I find relaxing is working on guitars. Strange. I do guitars I teach on guitar all day. I teach guitar all week. And then what do I do for my time off? I work on guitars a little bit. But I've been working on all of my guitars. I've saved tons and tons of money from having to have all my guitars taken into the shop every time something goes wrong. And I know what's something that has to, that really has to be addressed, and something that I might be able to do at home too. It's a lot of fun. But like I said before, if any of these sound like something that you would like to try, click on the links in the show notes page. Those are the Amazon links, and it gives you a chance to help out the channel too. I get a small percentage of that if you would like to try those out, but at least go and take a look at them. And there's my guitar, and there's my 5 recommendations so you can get your guitar, your Strat, to play just as nice as my red Sienna Sunburst Ash Strat plays. And I want to thank you. And I hope for those folks on YouTube who wanted to know about this guitar, I hope I helped. So I'm going to call it That's a Wrap. Thanks for joining me and my guitar today for the Play Guitar Podcast. Make sure to hit the button below to subscribe to the show. And if you have benefited from this show, please leave a review. It really helps. Thank you to all the people who have left reviews. Best place to leave them is over on Apple Podcasts. When you do that, it pushes us out even more to different people, and we make sure we get this very valuable content to more guitar players around the world. And if more help, structure, and results in your guitar playing sound good to you, head on over to Play Guitar Academy. If you're interested in coaching, I still have a few slots left. I am filling up. That's the number one thing that I love to do. Is coaching and really help you one-on-one. But also the Academy has the entire roadmap in there for you. And then there's all sorts of other fun stuff in there too. We get together every Wednesday at 5 for our Q&A, and it'd be great to see you over there. Thanks. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.